Welcome to the Successful Nurse Coach podcast. On this podcast, Laura
and Shelby, both board-certified nurse coaches, show you how to make as much money as you want in private practice as a nurse coach. All right. Hello and welcome back, everybody, to the Successful Nurse Coach podcast. It is the 100th episode today. 100 episodes, 100 weeks of us showing up with you here on Monday mornings. And oh my gosh, we have so much just to reflect and talk about today. This is an episode for Laura and Shelby. This is a natural time for us to pause and reflect and just be in some gratitude. So a preemptive thank you for just holding the space and listening while we kind of swim in this milestone together. I think back on when we first started.
Yeah.
I have a very vivid memory of whenever we were trying to get the podcast off the ground and you were in Texas. It was either January, I think it was January, and we were in a hotel lobby and I'm ferociously planning out emails and I'm getting our launch team, and the energy was insane behind this podcast to get it moving and going. It was so fun.
And that was really fun.
It was a lot of energy on our end, and it was really cool because the energy was very quickly reflected back from all of you of just kind of pumping us up and saying how much you appreciate it and how much you listen. And wow, 100 episodes. We're here. That was fast. That was so quick.
Yeah. Yep. We've recorded in many, many different houses now. You in 3 different houses. I've recorded in 3 different houses.
I've had a baby since we started this podcast, an actual baby, It's wild. Yeah. I guess the podcast went live in February of 2022. So we're creeping up kind of right on the year mark here, and or 2-year mark.
Yeah.
Sorry. And
2-year mark. Yeah.
A lot of nurse coaching, a lot of the impact that Laura and I create in the world is not precisely measurable. We can measure how much income our clients make, which is over $3 million, by the way, for this year, which is really dope. And there's a whole bunch of things that we can't measure, like the inner transformation that we help facilitate, that our team helps facilitate. But this is another benchmark that we can kind of hang our hat on and be like, dude, look at us. Look at us. Here we go.
Yeah, we're brainstorming on what we wanted to do today. I think it's cute that we can kind of do this for ourselves, but we'll share our innermost gratitude as we reflect back on the last 100 weeks of our practice, of creation, of serving our community. And I don't know how much you all know this, but this has been by far 10 times the hardest year so far for us in business for so many reasons. And our master mentees at their retreat, we were pretty flippant and transparent about why it was hard. And I think we're going to talk about what we're grateful for, but we're going to also include some of the hard stuff that we're grateful for because of the outcome of the difficulty. And I think this is incredibly relevant to a lot of you guys right now. I just got off a mentorship call, and a few of my mentees are going through their mini dark night of the soul, one of many, and what it means and how it feels. And I'm sitting in it with them, and I'm I get it. We've had many dark night of the souls in our business this year. And yet always at some point you can reflect back and you can be grateful because it gave you something that you couldn't have had any other way. So as we share just the high level stuff we're grateful for, I think we're going to allude to some of the difficulties that we went through and why we're grateful for each of them. And to be honest, being grateful for something that's really difficult and emotional and unfun, for me, it moves me into healing so much faster. And I don't think there's anything right now that we can't feel gratitude for. Nothing's happened this morning that we're not there
we're
yet.
coming in with a clean slate.
We have not checked our email, though. We haven't checked our email in a few hours, so we're
Yeah,
good for now.
totally. Yeah, no one send me a Facebook message while we're recording this, please, so I can maintain the clean slate. And yes, I mean, I think that at the beginning of this year, our mentor kind of said something really casually that like grabbed Laura and I's attention right out of the gate. And he was talking about being successful at being successful, and how you can kind of like create success on many different levels, but especially for entrepreneurs, like the maintenance, the longevity is not particularly a skill that a lot of entrepreneurs have, I think. And that might be me just speaking for myself there, but the being successful at being successful, I was just like, oh, tell me everything you know about that. Like, I want, however long the successful nurse coach
Yeah.
is, whatever the runway is, I don't ever want to be a speed bump in the road, right? Like, we can navigate all of the barriers and unforeseen cracks and all of that, but I don't want to be the reason that it falls apart. And we've been really, I feel like we opened a can of worms energetically with that this year. Of just like, okay, you want to know what it's like to be successful at being successful? Like, here's an open can of whoop ass for 2023. Like, here we go.
Yeah.
And it has been nothing but frankly revolutionary, both like on a personal level for each of us and also in our business as well. It's been huge.
Yeah. I mean, you just don't know what you don't know. And then you swing between like ignorant confidence, which is helpful sometimes and necessary, and fake it till you make it vibe. And then you can't fake it, like, because you've made it and there's skills and knowledge that you need for it to go well, for it to have longevity. And I think hiring, that was the first on our list, was being grateful for our mentor, Scott Oldford, because I think he's helping us see things from a perspective 5 to 10 years out that not a lot of human beings could hold or that we would trust. And he's like an entrepreneurial Yoda, like Shelby and I will be all up in arms, like, oh my gosh, this happened. What do we do? I'm kind of freaking out. And he'll be like, oh, well, is that the easiest way to handle it? And like your heart rate goes down and you're like, well, no, Scott, that is not the easiest way to handle it. So we invested really heavily we invested in a really big way to have a mentor for 3 years that we trust to hold us, not in the building phase, not in the scaling phase, not in the I want to make more money phase, but in the I want to learn how to be successful at being successful, which he said is actually very rare. And because then, like, why do this if we're not feeling like it's aligned? And then meeting so many entrepreneurs in Napa that aren't happy and it's not aligned, and that they make a lot of money and they're like deeply unhappy. And one of them said, I don't even know if I like myself. And I'm like, well, that sounds terrible.
Yeah, that was a really like sobering experience. We were definitely the littlest fish in the room.
Yeah.
And that was okay. Everybody was very kind and welcoming and warm even. But just kind of the vulnerability of everyone kind of like let down their guard. And it was like, it's been hard and I'm tired and this is terrible and I don't know where to go from here. Laura and I are just like taking like mental notes of like, okay, don't want to end up there. That I would love to avoid that if possible. And I think in like I can kind of see it from a hindsight perspective now, but I think that this year, universe, God, etc., all of the forces at play here have been pushing us and pushing and pushing to go somewhere that we've resisted for a while, for years. And
yes,
I can say that as of December 2023, the path forward feels very clear for the very first time, with like very little resistance. But it took us about 18 months to land here.
Yeah. Totally. Yep. Totally. Now the runway's clear. We're unsure how long it is, wide it is, and what it's made out of.
There's still a bunch of things we don't know.
But there's a sense in the fog that something exists.
Yeah, I don't know if it's one of those runways. Have you seen like the airports that like their runway backs up to the ocean or something, and you're just like, we're going, and then all of a sudden it just falls out from under you. I don't anticipate, but there's a little bit of like fear there of like, I mean, do we just keep running? When does it end? Where, like, is something going to fall out of the sky and crush me? Like, I don't know.
Dude, I think we probably have packed like a pink sparkly
Probably.
parachute that we didn't even know that we had. And we're just like, whoa. Yeah, that sounds more us. But yeah, I think first big gratitudes for our mentor. And then second big gratitude, we moved right into like partnership with each other and partnership with our husbands. Because we often say this, that our husbands hold space for us in a way that make everything possible.
Absolutely.
Like we just have ideas and thoughts and book trips and do stuff. We just have, and it's just always, I support you. That's a great idea. You're doing great. Like that's pretty much what we live with. And we don't want to take that for granted. We're super grateful for you guys. If you guys are listening, we love both of you.
I hear him listen every Monday. He listens every Monday. Yeah, it's true, and I think that maybe we can even invite a more intimate look at like some brief logistics here. I was covering a call for one of our lead coaches, Amy, the other day, and one of the mentees was like, I look at Laura and I look at you and I look at Amy, and you guys all have little kids, and I have little kids, and I just like really struggle with my time. Like I don't feel like I have enough time. Like, and I am assuming here. I'm assuming she was holding herself to the same energetic standard of like, they can do it, why can't I do it? And also like, Rob is the primary parent in our house, right? Like I set my work hours, but I'm up in my office between 8 or 9 in the morning until about 3 in the afternoon most days, and he handles groceries and laundry and getting Ada to and from school and making sure Rosie goes for a nap. He pops in here so that I can nurse her. Like he manages our life. He's my life manager. And if I was having to do both of those things, I think that I could do it, but I would be super frazzly. It would come from somewhere, it would come.
Yeah.
It would come. I would have to carve the time out somewhere else that would take away from my work.
Yeah. Yeah. Evan became primary parent when we moved to Tennessee. And I've actually taken back some of the primary parent stuff because I think I have older children. And so our kids don't need as much, but they need their mama for things and they need their daddy for things. And there's these very specific things that they come to mommy for and these very specific things that they come to daddy for. But if I need to host a retreat or you and I are going to jet off to Napa or I'm going to hire my next coach for 12 grand or whatever, there's just, of course, there's no resistance. There's no, it's always yeah, I support you. That sounds like a great idea. There's, that's insane to me that we're there. And then also in the same vein, it's like, well, if we lose everything, like we'll figure it out. We also have that conversation. It's like, as we take risks, we took a risk with the farm. We've taken different risks this year. And we always be like, well, worst case scenario, we'll have a good effing story about what we tried to do.
A really good book and cash out on the book in the back end. Yeah. So true. So true. Yeah. And oh man, it's I think that is also something that Scott gifted us very early this year. It's just like, he's not necessarily going to teach us how to have infinite energy, but it's like, what is your energy used best for? And like my energy is used best for, in this season of my life, like coaching calls, content and emails, podcasting stuff, and being up with my baby at 3 a.m. That is where my energy is currently currently going. It's not that I have an infinite resource of energy. It's just playing with the cards of energy that I have. And because Rob is home, because he is so supportive, it almost feels like I have a stacked deck a little bit. Like I have 2 extra cards in my hand versus, like 7 versus 5. So all of that to be said, husbands, we love you. We appreciate you. It does not go unnoticed ever, even when I'm annoyed that you left the kitchen cabinet open for the 50th time. I'm so appreciative that you're on our team. Couldn't do it without you.
Yeah. And when I give you shit, Evan, for going to jiu-jitsu for the 19th hour of the week, I appreciate what it does for you. It makes you a happier person. You know what shirt I was going to buy him, Shelby? I almost bought it for you too. I have to stop buying things off Facebook
scammed.
and Instagram though, because I keep getting catfished. I got to stop. Oh yeah, I probably bought a Barbie pool. I thought it was a hot tub. Anyway, there's a shirt with Andrew Huberman's head, and it just says, "Do you even cold plunge?" And I almost bought it for you and him.
Everyone that comes over to my house, I'm like, "Did you bring your swimsuit? We're doing a family cold plunge." And they look at me like I have 4 heads. I'm like, "I'm serious. Everyone's going outside and we're doing it together. I'm here for it. Oh, well, the third thing that made our list is our team, like our team of coaches, and Amanda, who is our mind reader, practice manager. She is so integral. Therapist, yeah. She's so integral to our functioning day to day now. And also our coaches, our lead coaches are the best nurse coaches in existence. I will acknowledge our bias here, but also they're the most experienced nurse coaches on the market, and it shows. And so we are so grateful. And I know that I get a lot of messages of like, I want to be on your team in the future. And I love the sentiment, but I want to acknowledge that like me and Laura taking messy action also translates into our team being along for the ride. And it's a lot of, hey, we made this choice. I hope you're still on board. I can honor if you're not. And our team has ridden through some really intense waves with us this year. And I hope that I communicate this enough, but like, so grateful to have such a squad of epic people in our corner that are flexible enough, that are in on the vision, that want just this business to succeed. And I feel very privileged to have people that kind of like are like, wherever you guys are going, we're we hitched our cart to you for the future.
Yeah. And our team really runs their part in our business like part of their own business too. So there's just, I think we talked about like the way that we lead is we don't lead it with a hierarchy. We lead with concentric circles. And while Shelby and I are in the middle, and at some point there comes points where we have to make decisions, for the most part, it's a lot of collaboration and asking for feedback and openness. We know that we don't know everything, and we know that we've got a really strong team around us that knows things we don't know. And it's been really fun to grow that way, as opposed to a hierarchy or having a really large team. We've maintained it a smaller team, and the team just keeps wanting to work more with us, which has been great.
Totally. Yeah. We love our team. We love our team so much. And then I think kind of going hand in hand here is like our team would also kind of be nothing without our community. And so we are so grateful for people who are in the Facebook group and like frankly care to listen to the podcast every week and read my emails. And then whenever I'm salty or upset about something and I share with you in my emails how raw it all is, for you guys to text me or message me afterwards and just like offer comfort. Like it's, we push a lot of energy and intention out to all of you, and like we feel it circle back. It feels very a
Yeah.
mutual exchange. And if our community wasn't so involved, or they didn't care so deeply, or like just nurse coaches, I don't know. If you guys were just like regular coaches and maybe not nurse coaches, I think that we're a special breed. But I think it would make showing up a lot harder, if I'm being honest. Like it's fun. It's fun to show up here in this
Yeah.
space.
Yes. We would not be relevant if all of you didn't want to be extraordinary coaches and have incredible private practices. Like it's your desire for that that fuels everything that we do, that makes me do workshops out of nowhere and spend hours on it, or to read books, or to listen to podcasts that might make me 1% better at whatever it is that I'm currently doing for you guys. Like your passion for being the best that you can be makes me have passion to be the best that I can be in this role, in this community. And, this was like divine that we all ended up here. This was not, Shelby and I did not set out to be business coaches. We had 2 years in the game before we were approached over and over again for help. So we feel like this chose us, and we're trying to do it proud, whatever that divine
Yeah,
nudge was. We're always trying
totally.
to do it proud.
Totally. I think of all of the coaching programs that we have spent money on, Laura, of like other coaches that like either do straight
Yeah.
up business coaching or do like a flavor on business coaching or business support, just to simply make sure that we haven't missed anything. Like we are constantly combing and
Yeah.
searching and in the pursuit of, because if the game shifts, the market changes, or the rules change, we want to be the first to know. Like we want to be on the inside to be able to get that
Yeah.
information out as soon as possible. And then I think that I mean, not to like brag blatantly on us here, but I do think that that is part of what we bring to the table, is that like, yes, I am up often,
Yeah.
like reading new material and pursuing new things and dedicating my time to business coaching. And I hope that that bleeds through, but also too, it just, especially as kind of like the needs of our community have expanded over time, right? I'm always looking for like different ways to phrase things or to label it, or to like reach the volume of
Yes.
people that tune in to us. Like how can I say the same thing 4 different ways so I can reach 40 different people? Like that's something on the
Yeah.
back end we are always doing here.
And then just like entrepreneurship. I think that when we first started, we really looked at ourselves as like business coaches that help nurse coaches start their practice and to teach some sales skills. And now we're really seeing it more from like an entrepreneurial mindset and on being an entrepreneur in general. So it's changed shape. And I feel like the kinds of practices that our clients are having has also changed. Like we have lots of different types of practices that
Yeah,
are happening right now.
totally.
It's really fun.
Absolutely. 100
Super
agreed.
fun.
Agree, which is, it both keeps it exciting for us. But I think also too of, yeah, embracing entrepreneurial mindset, because if you can like have a framework for that, you could really do anything. Any business structure you could make work. And then also I think that
Yes.
as our programs go on and the more experience that we have, the deeper our containers become too. Of like the more like
Yeah.
I'm kind of like spinning my wheels here, but I have a group that started in August, and they are like one of the most high performing groups that we've had ever. Like I think that people joining now, you get all of the hours and the time and the experience that we bring to the table that we didn't necessarily have last year or the year before, right? So that like we can help you.
Yeah.
I can't shortcut hard lessons for you, because your soul signed up for just a couple of hard lessons, and I'll ride shotgun with you. But however, I'm getting better at predicting what action, how it ricochets over the next 6 months, and maybe intervening a little sooner of like, hey, not yet, pause, focus here, and then we'll touch on that in a few weeks. Which is not a skill I had as a new coach or new business coach at all.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we're going to get off topic like we do, but I'm grateful for this. But I feel like when I reflect, it's like now it's from a consulting point of view, like we don't hold back. Whereas coaching and consulting are two separate things. When you hire a business coach, you are actually hoping for some consulting as well. So there is teaching, there's consulting, and there is coaching. And I think we do all three really freaking good. And not to toot our own horn, but I'm gonna. It's been difficult to find that out in the wild. It's been difficult. Shelby and I have been on like hunts, and we've done application calls, and we've looked at different programs, and you usually get one or the other. You usually get like a strategist that's going to tell you what to do, or a social media person who's going to teach you how to do social media, like these little components. Or you hire a really deep, like a higher end deep coach to help you really, really with the deeper transformative things. But to be honest, in your business, you need a little bit of both, and you need them like dosed appropriately at appropriate times. And so we're always on the lookout for different places for you guys to go after us, or if you want something instead of us. And we're always willing to, if you've got a good space that you found, please tell us. It's been very difficult for us to find other places that have all the things for ourselves and for clients at different parts of their journey.
I like to think that all of the good coaches are like hanging out on a private island somewhere on sabbatical, and then one day they just all come back online, and I'm like, oh, here you are. I've been looking for you. Yeah, totally.
All right. Next one is, I think we were going to appreciate our coaches. And I mean, I've had lots of people hold lots of space for me this year. I've cried more on coaching calls this year than I have any other year.
Yeah. I've asked for more help than ever before. Like I feel like I've reached a new level in my people pleasing recovery this year I've taken up more space. I've asked for more help. I've cried more often. I've been more like raw, like with my anger on coaching calls, like trusting someone to be able to hold that kind of space for me. I've realized it's very sacred, and God, there are just so, how many? I've had 4 coaches this year alone. Some long term, some short term. But like it took all of that. It's just like, what kind of support do I need today? And I have a menu, and it's like, what lever do I pull? And again, like I mentioned before, like they didn't necessarily save me or allow me to sidestep any hard lessons. But I was able to move, kind of like look at it head on and move through it versus like avoid, where, like in this whole being successful at being successful theme. I just feel like you got to kind of like pull all of the skeletons out of the closet again, even ones that you've dealt with before, and you just get to repeat a little learning as you up level. And super, super grateful for our people. And I'm also super grateful for my coaches when I'm like, I don't want to be in a group space anymore. Will you like make me a secret offer one-on-one, and I won't tell anybody about it, because I want all of the space. I want the full hour. I want to share with anybody. For those coaches who've made me those offers too, I appreciate
that. Yeah. Oh, all right. Client feedback. I think we are so grateful for all the incredible feedback we get, but I'm also grateful for the feedback I get from my mentees, because man, I had an experience this year with feedback that if anyone reading it wouldn't even think it was negative. It was all positive. But the way that I read the feedback, the way that it hit me was that it really hit me. Like it really cut me. And it cut me because of a limiting belief I had about being all in all the time and all things to all people. It was really like, I was so grateful for it. And so when it happened, I was so hurt. And I was like, doesn't even make sense. Like, why am I so hurt? Why does it hurt so bad? And then immediately leaving my coach a voice message in the trigger itself while I'm totally activated and irrational, because I wanted to capture it. I didn't want it to go away. Like, I wanted to capture the bigness of it, the ridiculousness of it. I really wanted to pull back the layers of all the parts of my ego that were screaming. And this was like sleeping parts of my ego. And then on the call, our coaching call, like dissecting it. And that was one of the biggest leaps forward I made this year was the results of that. And so I share this story with you guys because a lot of our clients are listening. Keep giving us the hard feedback. Don't pussyfoot around. And I promise you, if it was you that made me cry, I appreciate it. But also for you guys who are eliciting feedback from your clients. So when you get something that isn't just stellar or perfect, or it makes you feel any type of way, bring it to your mentor, bring it to us, because I think client feedback is just right. It's like a field for growth. I'm so grateful for it. Like, I'm so grateful for that experience. I was not grateful on the Tuesday that I read it. But by Friday, I was grateful. And to be honest, it unlocked another piece of me as a coach. So I'm so grateful for
Yeah.
all of the feedback, the good and
I
the bad.
remember that Tuesday. It was a little rough. It's a little rocky.
Yeah, you kind of were. I remember you going, there is space for this not to mean anything. And there's also space for it to mean something. And I'm like, oh, I made it mean something. Oh, I am. Bitch, this is something. And but I wanted it. I didn't want it to go away. I wanted to, like, it's so rare to get that triggered for me in my everyday, that I'm like, ooh, there is gold at the bottom of this. And I don't want to gloss over, and I want to share it, the messiness of it, because I could clean it up on my own, but I probably wouldn't get it all.
Totally. It's very, and like, just as an example of like watching Laura like move through that, you kind of like clued me in of like, this is really hard. And then, it's like, there's space for it to mean nothing, or space for it to mean something. Like, there's being it's so hard for us not to coach each other. Like, I try my best to not, just like be a friend, hold the space, don't be an ass. Because I know you have people in your corner, that could probably hold better space to you, that are less attached to the outcome. But like, Laura moved through that whole thing in like less than 72 hours, like that's like how I in the moment, I'm sure that it felt like it was never going to end, and the spiral was really big. But because you leaned into it, because you chose this as a learning lesson, like how quick that can be, right? And then you arrived to your awareness, and then you let it fucking go, right? That you were not still talking about it every week over and over and over again. So it's really cool to watch you process. And one time I think this was last year, but I was processing some client feedback and with my coach, and they're like, well, Shelby, what would you want them to say? And I was like, that they love me, that they worship the ground that I walk on, that I can do no wrong. And they're like, isn't that highly manipulative? And I was like, yes, I know, but that's what I want. That's what I desire. And so just, that like creating this bubble to where, all of your clients are obsessed with you all of the time is highly unrealistic and so unhealthy, and like, it's codependency 101. And if you are listening to this being like, I get triggered AF whenever my clients are unhappy, one, great. That means you're doing your job. You're stirring the pot. You're not placating. But if you are having a big response to this, we encourage you to sit with it. Talk to someone about it. Talk to your coach about it. Deconstruct it a little bit, because there is space. There is more powerful space for you to hold for yourself and for your clients if you are feeling triggered this way.
Yes. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. A good coach is going to trigger you. And I've had 2 male coaches trigger me, like, go for the jugular, which was interesting to have happen. And I'm so grateful for it, because it takes bravery to do that. But I also realized this year, Shelby, that for you and I to do what we do well, we're going to have to be the villain in some people's stories. Like, I just realized that's just, there's a percentage of people that are going to see me and you as villains and have stories about us. We're going to be deeply misunderstood. And if we don't, then we're probably not doing what we do
Mm-hmm.
to the best of our ability. And this is true for anybody
Yeah.
almost across the board. This is true for, let's think of like a musical artist. For a musical artist to be the best at what they do, there's going to be a small percentage of the population that freaking hate their music, talk shit about
Yeah.
their music, and hate them because of it. And same thing with artists. Like if all the high level artists, there's going to be a percentage of the population who thinks it's overpriced BS, and they're going to get attacked for it. I'm okay with that now. Like it's just, we're going to have to be that for some people, to do what we do well. And you guys listening, you are too, as you.
Sorry to tell you.
Right? Like
Yeah.
we all get to be the villain.
We are thankful. Oh, this is like one of my favorite things that I'm thankful for. I'm thankful that we were ballsy enough to launch one of our offers, the preceptorship. And those of you who've been around for a little while, you probably know what that is. It was an offer we had that was live in 2022 as a test. And this test, I know, impacted a lot of people. It served a lot of people. It was like a good offer. Like it was comprehensive for the price point. Like it was an insane deal. And we measured metrics for 12 months on that offer. And in case you've missed it, our goal here at the Successful Nurse Coaches is to help nurse coaches make money. And no one, okay, that's dramatic. Not nobody, most. Overwhelming majority of people did not make any money in that offer. And that was our biggest, kind of like our biggest gap that we were measuring the whole year of like, can this work? Can this work? Can we have a mid-tier offer that's lower, that's a bigger group space? Can people, like, I don't want to project what I think. I kind of want to know. And with a full transparency here, I mean, that offer made us like $250,000 selling that offer. And whenever we sat down to assess it, we knew that it wasn't the thing. And so when it starts to not become the thing, then you get on app calls and you talk to people about it and your energy shifts around it. And it just starts to feel not in alignment very, very, very quickly, probably within like 2 to 3 weeks. And then we made the decision to just basically completely trim that offer altogether and be done with that iteration of it. Because if you're gonna spend $5,000, I would rather you spend $5,000 on a one-on-one coach and buy our course. Like I really do think that there was a better way to spend money, because a lot of people, while they got a lot of value in that space, many folks hid and didn't take action. And that kept me up at night. Like it drove me insane. So I love that we can try something with really good intention and just be like kind of ruthless and like, this isn't working, and switch gears and be really transparent. Like the people that were in that space, they kind of ended up with a sweet deal, because we ended up overserving that community. Yeah.
Which I love.
And I've actually been really loving how we wrapped up that space. But I think, and even like kind of like the stories of the really 7, 8, 9-figure entrepreneurs that we hung out with in Napa, I think that it's kind of like you're doing something and it's working, but then you start getting whispers of like, it's not working, but then you kind of feel attached to it and you double down. And again, it's so much easier to kind of like cut it as soon as like as soon as you have a knowing about it, you kind of have to take action on it. And this is how I think this translates to new coaches. It's just like, y'all, you're going to have to try so many things, and time in the game as a coach, that there's still space to pivot, right? Like you don't have to ever have it all figured out. I just think that if you lead with a lot of transparency, then it helps.
Yeah. Yeah, we trimmed that offer not because it was a good income move or business move. It was a bad business move from our bottom line and from a strategy standpoint, if making money was the goal, but for impact, like it was, we doubled down on the offer that we knew had the most impact instead of um, honestly appeasing our community with something that they they thought they
Mm-hmm.
needed that we knew wasn't working. So, um, yeah. Our strategist at the time, I think that we I think it was around the time we switched strategists, but our old strategist would not have been happy with that. She would have thought
Yeah.
that we were nuts
Yeah. Well, I
with
mean,
getting rid of that offer.
it's not a nominal amount of income either, right? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, but we had a lot of like aspirations, you dream big and you shoot for it, and then there's reality as well. And so it's
Yeah. Yeah.
I I've seen a few other people, coaches, course creators, even in the space, that have kind of been doing something similar as of lately, of just like, I'm no longer aligned with this body of
Yep.
work, and so I'm not offering it anymore. And people are kind of confused by that, of like, why not just leave it up? Like, if even if you make $100 a year, isn't it worth it? And I mean, for me, the answer would be no. Like, if I really don't believe in something and I really don't align
Yes.
with it, then it's just like an energetic weight every time I have to tend to whatever problem it's causing me. Um, it the energy just gets so heavy so fast. And yeah, we we
Yeah.
we went for it and we changed our mind. And you can go for it and change your mind too.
Yeah. All right, we've got a few more here, and this one's interesting. This is my own term, but I think I'm really grateful for naive loyalty. I think that Shelby and I made a lot of decisions quickly, the best of our ability, and from a naive standpoint. And naive loyalty to me is giving people loyalty that's not earned,
Hmm.
but just because I liked them. Like, well, I like you, so I'm loyal to you. And that's not loyalty, and liking someone deserves a little more
Yeah.
examination and due
Yeah.
diligence, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I and I think even you and I are very similar in this way of like, I like you, you pass the vibe check, so I'm just going to trust you with my bank account login, Like, wow, risky business right there. And Laura and I operate highly from our intuition. Even from like a human design standpoint, Laura and I can like make decisions very quickly. We're designed to make decisions very quickly, but I think that there has been space this year of like pulling apart the I like you, but like, what does that mean? Like, I like you as a person, and is there space at my business table, and those, neither, if the answer is no, that doesn't mean that we don't have to like them anymore, right? It's just um
Right.
and I know we're speaking vaguely about this, and I appreciate your patience with that. We're probably not going to get into any more detail about it, but it's we grew so rapidly and have been drinking from the fire hydrant and being able to manage for so long, and it's really actually kind of like worked out for us. But now just being able to like take a pause before kind of doing anything,
Yeah.
because the ripple effect
Anything.
now is significant, and I don't think that was clear to us until like the back half of this year, of just like minor decisions and how they flow
Yeah.
out, to where before, god, the growth phase was so insane. I couldn't even tell you what decision I made the week before. Like, it was so fast.
No. It's going from like, what do you want for dinner
Yeah.
to what restaurant do you want to buy? Like it's what you want for dinner. It's like, well, whatever. And then what restaurant do you want to buy? I should probably take a night to sleep on it
Yeah.
before I decide. Um, so I think that that's just part of our own maturity as business owners, as human beings, as walking the walk of trying to be successful at being successful. And if we can help any of you with that as you go, if you're listening to this really vague conversation and it's like in resonance, hit us up. I am willing to pass this on. Like I would freely pass whatever this lesson was for on to anyone who wants to learn it. So slowing down for new decisions. And then I was just going to say personally, I'm so grateful for my farm. I love going out to see the animals every day. It forces me to be outside. There is something special about farm life. I haven't figured out what it is, but it is the life for me. I'm so grateful for it. It's created a lot of space for me.
Yeah.
And retreats this year. We will have a retreat here on the farm this year,
too.
which I'm really excited about.
I'm personally grateful for my health. It's like been the first year in a really long time where everything has just been fine. It's been normal. I haven't like last year I literally lived between my OB, the high risk OB, and the cardiologist. I was there all the time, necessarily so, but it's just been kind of nice to like live my life this year. And I get another scan in January, and so I'm really truly for the first time ever anticipating good news of like now we're back on track. That was a crazy 4-year blip in time for me. But yeah, just like the health of my whole family, really. Just that like my girls have strong and healthy hearts, and I know that chapter for me will never be fully closed. Like I'm always going to have this like really intimate awareness of how fragile life is, because I'm going to get to be with it about once a year every time I get a CAT scan. But it kind of feels like the dust is settling there. And dude, that was so much for so long. So it dictated it, it dictated everything all the time. And so yeah, dude, thanks for riding shotgun with me on that. That it's been a doozy. It's been a doozy.
We signed up for the deluxe life, Shelby. We signed up for the deluxe package with a lot of the things. And yeah, I'm super glad that you have the deluxe package.
Me too.
Life.
Oh, so good. Oh man. Okay. Well, this episode is officially long enough. You've listened to us long enough. Go on about all of the things we're grateful for. And yeah, maybe take a pause with us and just reflect on some things that you're grateful for. Maybe even some hard lessons that have taught you something this year. And we, as far as we know, I plan to be here for 100 more episodes. I'm thinking that 2024 is going to hold some new things for us to talk about on the podcast. And I'm alluding a little bit to the soft launch of something new next week. But stay tuned. 2024 is going to be a lot of fun. A lot of fun. New air in the lungs.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Thanks for hanging out with us.
See ya.